Okay, I switched mics and I see the mic reading now, so I'm assuming everyone can hear me. Apologies for the technical issues. I'm hoping some people come back and I'll just start over. So yeah, I currently have like a box of books I'm trying to purge, just get some value from them. They're really books I don't want to. Hey, what's up? What's up, Jens? They're really books that I don't want to keep in my collection anymore. Some of them are doubles. Some of them are just books I've grown out of. Others are maybe conditional type issues. I've become a little bit more of a condition snob. Hey, what's up, Tyler? Thanks for your patience, guys. I've become somewhat of a condition snob in the sense that I do want like a more of a presentable book. Like if it's like just beat beat to hell, where there's things growing on it or something. I just I that kind of book I don't want in the collection. So it's not about matter of having the book anymore for me. It's about having the book in, I'd say, like for me, like like 2.5 can be in the collection. It just has to present closer to mid grade, right? It has to present. It can't be too many ugly distract. Like I'm fine with like cover being detached or pages, interior pages being having issues, but for me, it's like when you have it in a bag and board, or if you have it in like a slab or something, it presents better than its actual grade. So anyway, we had a bunch of books, and I just kind of been putting up lots. And again, at the urging of Jens, I decided, okay, why don't I post on Facebook Marketplace for local pickup, so that I don't have to ship stuff out. I can just, if there are local people that want to buy it, I can just meet up with them. Well, so I put up 2 lots, a 12-book Uncanny X-Men lot, which I put up for $25, and then a 9-book Superman Silver Age lot. And again, that Silver Age lot was mostly comprised of like doubles or just really kind of unsightly, condition issue books, low grade books. And I had paid more than $1 for most of those pickups. Hey, what's up, Ron? But for the yeah, I just switched the mic up. For the most part, those books again, I paid more than $1 for most of those books, but I just wanted to get some kind of value for it. I didn't have to make a profit. I lost value on that sale, but I got $10 out of moving 9 books that I didn't really want anymore. And again, I did kind of pay for some of the books in there more than $1. Well, pretty much all of those books I picked up for more than $1. But at the end of the day, selling them for what I paid for, or trying to get like the exact value for that, probably wouldn't have moved the books. So again, for $1 a book, for a silver to bronze age lot, I got a lot of hits. The X-Men lot wasn't getting as many hits, so I kind of dropped the price from 25 to 20. And so I was messaging, like 3 guys. The first 3 guys that messaged me about the Superman lot, I responded to, and they were all kind of like just waiting on me to like coordinate time and whatnot. But one of the guys was like, "Look, I'll take the Superman and the X-Men lot. I'll just take both." if that makes things easier. I'm like, okay, they're yours. So uh, I got up this morning, dropped my son off at Saturday school, and then I took a package to mail to my buddy Fanboy Prime. If you watch my haul video from I think yesterday, you'll see that I picked up a book especially for him. Really cool book. I know, I felt bad, but he's liking it, so it's fine. He will eventually, I think, come to resent Saturday school, but for now, he's so young. He's just like any chance to, I guess, play with friends and stuff is better than being at home. Um, but yeah, I sent Fanboy Prime a book this morning, or a series of books. I gave him some books out of what I'm trying to kind of purge, as well as the book I picked up for him at Half Price Books, which was on Thursday. I picked that up on Thursday and just mailed it out today. So he'll get those books. And when he gets them, I'm just going to enjoy his little unboxing video. And you can go check out his channel for what I sent him. But it should be pretty cool. So after I dropped that off at the post office, I was waiting around. I had coordinated with the guy who bought the lots for me, or committed to buying the lots for me. We were going to meet up at Half Price Books in Bellevue. And I said, hey, I'm going to be there first thing when it opens at 10 a.m. So just, come find me. I'll be digging. And yeah, he came in. I was sitting there looking at comic books. He came in. I got to know the guy. I'll just call him Jay for now, just to kind of protect, his identity. But great guy, great guy. He's kind of getting into comic books right now, and we just talked this and that, kind of what he likes. He likes to read the comic books. He's not like a collector per se. And then I think he also wants to eventually sell stuff like toys, vintage games, and all that. He just kind of wants to get into the whole, um, pick things up cheap and resell them kind of game, and just kind of do it on the side kind of thing. So I thought that was really cool. Um, but yeah, he goes down to Portland a lot because he's got family there. So he was saying, like, giving me recommendations. I think he said I have to check out Outlaw Comics. Damien, I don't know if that's one of the ones you recommended, but he was saying they have a lot of back issue bin, like a big back issue bin there, 50 cents per book. You could probably talk him down if you bring a big pile to him. And so Jens and I'll probably hit that place up and look for the treasure in there. Apparently he's got like 1 million books in those back issues. So it's like almost impossible well, not 1 million. How would that be? That would be impossible to dig through. But he's got like a back issue that's so big, you literally can't do it in a day kind of inventory. So that's always fun. That's always fun when it's like chaos and you're just like, I'll start here, you start there. We're just digging, right? We might be there the whole day. But the guy's also doing auctions and stuff. So should be a fun time. And then, yeah, we closed the deal. Again, I got $30 in my pocket. And then I started digging at Half Price Books. And now we're going to get into what I picked up at Half Price Books. I picked up 3 books for $15. And then, there's tax. So it ended up being, almost closer to $17. But we'll get into it. Here we go. Let's hope this works. Hang on just a minute. All right. There we go. So they had these 2 issues of Hush. They had that in there. They were not in bags and boards. Or sorry, they were not in. Uh, they were not. There weren't any boards. They were just in bags, loose in bags. Um, and so I checked the condition on them. They're just sitting there, kind of raw, loose in the bag. The bags were pretty protected though, so it wasn't like they weren't. They were still high grade. It's still. Um, for example, this was the book that we were really concerned about in terms of the condition, and as you can see, um, really nice grade. Uh, and again, half a cover, like 250. I figured, I'm sure I'll find this in the dollar bin somewhere down the road. But given, like there's a book I recently kind of read up to this issue. I know the last part, the last chapter in this second arc is out now. It's in comic book shops. So I'm just gonna hopefully pick that one up just to see how the second arc ends. They are gonna introduce the third arc, but that's sort of a TBD because of Jim's health issues. He's kind of struggling to get a hold of his uh, diabetes, and he's really just taken a step back from working and changing some of his health habits to get in a better state of health. Um, so with that being said, again, they finished the second arc. We don't know when the third arc's coming. I imagine it won't be another 10 years, but it probably won't be when they said it was going to be, which is, I think they said they were going to come out with it next year. It probably would not be next year. So we're just kind of, I'm sure the second arc is also going to end on some kind of cliffhanger too, right? Just leave it to Jeff and Jim to like leave us hanging. Hopefully those guys, stay healthy enough to give us the last chapter. But yeah, these are really 2 high grade conditional books. So I figured for $2.50 a pop, 2 for 1 kind of deal. I said, why not? And these are really like 2 of the better. This is, I think, the best cover in the whole run. The Wanted Dead or Alive picture. Just a lot of great line work and detail in this one. This one, kind of, not that it's bad, but I don't know. I just feel like this image is not all that great, but you do see these kind of like, well, the sonic pressure is making him internally bleed and all that. That's pretty cool. So 2 great covers. All right, now the last book is a book for yeah, when I was talking to myself, I was talking about this. I do like this second arc of Hush, but the story, I don't know about you guys, but the story just felt like it was a rushed. We're just kind of jumping from scene to scene. There wasn't really like, they weren't taking pause, and then they were, the the whole story revolves around Hush's insistence on turning his, like friends and people closest to him against him. And you as the reader almost are convinced too, like Batman's insistence on keeping the Joker alive. Well, why? What? Like we're psychoanalyzing that. Like, why does he want to keep the Joker alive? Right? It would be just so much easier to like take the Joker out, and he's this like homicidal maniac. He's killed and hurt so many people over the years, and but this whole sort of internal insistence on protecting the Joker makes you kind of wonder, well, is Batman really like, is he mentally all there? Is he, should he really have this authority to like, you know, do a crusade if he's not, you know, if he's insane in the membrane kind of, like issue. Um, so, those kinds of things, I like the story enough, but it just feels kind of rushed and disjointed in places. And it's definitely not as compelling as the first Hush run. The second Hush run just feels like they're just trying to get the books out. It's like they're doing it on the fly, and um, yeah, it doesn't feel as like compelling as the first arc. But definitely the second arc has a lot of action, a lot of great panel. Jim Lee, he was going into hyper overdrive with some of these panels. They're just actually absolutely beautiful to look at. But nothing in Hush 2 that, like, I just feel like some of the panel work in like like All-Star Batman and Robin were actually like were better than the second arc here. Um, so yeah, it wasn't like, it didn't wow you to the point of like, wow, this is something we've never seen. We've seen it before, and the story just kind of just, I don't know, like I said, disjointed, felt rushed. Um, like they hadn't figured out the entire script before they got into it. They were kind of figuring it out as, and then anytime you, sometimes organically when you're going with the flow and figuring it out, it's fine. But when you build so much, anticipation, expectation around this, sometimes it can work against you. And in this instance, I think maybe I had hyped it up in my mind so much. When I actually kind of started reading, I was just like, all right, all right. And I just kept, going issue to issue. The first issue starts out great, but then it maintains that kind of like fast clip. And I just felt like they could have slowed it down a little bit, given the viewer, the reader, um, just the chance to catch their breath kind of thing. So, but yeah, I talk to myself a lot, Ron. It's like, I always have the internal dialogue uh, tuned up to like 10. Not always a good thing. All right, so yeah, we got two Hush books. Now, the third book, I was kind of digging in the lockbox, and I ran into this book. I was like, wait, what's going on here? I saw the price, and I was like, So I kind of took a picture. I sent it to my buddy Jens. I was like, hey, is this a book you want? And I told him the price and what it was, and he's like, oh yeah, let's pick it up. He said yes. So I got the guy to open the lockbox for me, and I took a look at the book, because the condition of the book would depend on, it was a great price. First of all, it was a great price, but the condition would really determine whether I would walk out of the store with it or not. And it's a clean book. It's a really clean book, and I'm kind of surprised I got it at this price, actually. So we picked up Invincible 50. It's hard to find Invincible books these days, because they're just, you've got these really just people who flip. You got these flippers just running around town with it, like their heads are cut off. Just picking up trying to pick up everything Invincible and then flipping it. So it's really like a pyramid scheme now where the top flippers have flipped it and it's just sitting somewhere on eBay trying to, someone trying to get like 80, 90, $100 for this book. Um, but yeah, we got it for 10. Again, kind of just lucked into it. I don't know what prompted the seller to sell this in with whatever other books he moved, but Half Price Books had it priced for $10, which is a really good price for it. Or no, it was priced at, I think it was priced at like higher, and then they reduced it to 10 because it had 2 stickers. It had I didn't see what the previous price point was. It might have been 15, given that this is kind of like a 50, or what is it? No, it's a $60 book. So maybe they had it priced around like 13 or something, and then they maybe reduced it to 30 to 10 or so. I don't know what the previous price was, but it had been reduced again. But yeah, again, the condition was the real key thing here. And I knew Jens wouldn't want the book unless it was really clean. And as you can see, covered it in an earlier post. I'm seeing something on that corner there. Negligible, obviously. But the spine is really clean. I don't even think this needs a press, to be honest. I'm sure Jens will give it a press, but sometimes if it's doesn't need a press, don't do it. Why take the risk, right? So, yeah, I think this is actually worthy of putting in the 9.8 pre-screen. It looks like it would come back a 9.8. I don't know what are your thoughts? You guys just showed you the book. It's in a bag of board, but it's really clean. So yeah, this is Jens's book for $10, and he's free to do with it whatever he wants. But I think he's preparing a 9.8 pre-screen right now. I don't think he has all the books laid out for that submission, but this one would be a good one. Thanks. Yeah, I think it would come. And again, in a 9.8 on this book, it raises the value quite significantly. Right now, this book's at, I think, 65 in high grade. And that's what we have here. So if we just kept it raw and sold it, it'd be 60. I keep saying we. If Jens were to sell it raw, I'm sure he could get at least 50 for it. And it's a milestone issue. I think this is he transitions into the blue suit after this issue, and so the next issues are like a big key. I don't even know who this. Again, I have no interest in Invincible. I don't watch the show. I don't take particular interest in the series. I know it's loosely based on like the concept of evil Superman. I don't know why this dude would bloody this guy like this if he's the protagonist. Why is he beating up old people? I don't know. Maybe there's reasoning there, but great cover. Yeah, kind of brutal. Just a brutally violent cover there, but apparently that's what Invincible is, right? Anything brutally violent, we gotta. That's Kirkman for you. Is that right? Okay. I'm glad Tyler's keeping us on top of Cecil Cecil. Gotcha. So he deserves the beatdown, I guess. Oh, nice, Ron. Ron got it for cover price. There you go. Ron, man. You get the whole run of Invincible for cover price? I mean, that's some foresight if you were able to do that. So yeah, the other thing about, Jens and I've talked about this too, and the other thing about what makes the whole Invincible, it's a FOMO type thing. Like you got collectors just running around thinking that this entire print run is rare, and I get that. They're putting out this printing data for the issues. Like this one, I had like 16,000 issues printed, so there's only 16,000 quote unquote issues out there. I tend to think that those numbers are a little, there's no transparency around that. I wouldn't put too much. I would just be skeptical of that number. I'm sure there are more, in somewhere because you're talking about sales. When they talk about like printed copies, they're really talking about copies sold. Because the print run on any given, if you're doing production right on any given print run, they're going to print way more copies. The publishing company would be just idiotic to like just print them to order and then do a second printing or whatever. I mean, some companies do that. Some companies just like print them and then destroy all the extra copies. But no company actually talks about that. They don't actually say, hey, yeah, we only printed 20,000 copies and the rest we destroyed. No one does that because there's these publishers, if they hold on to the book and then just sell them to wholesalers or retailers or whatever, there's a whole collectability market there that these companies are tuned into. So anyway, it wouldn't surprise me if down the road they're like, oh, we just found another, like crate or, like a pallet of Invincible books sitting in this warehouse. It wouldn't surprise me if stuff like that happens down the road. So I just be a little bit, yeah. Don't go crazy with the Invincible stuff, okay? It's kind of there already, but I just think it's like one of those like risky type. Does this really have long-standing legs? I guess if we get a movie and a toy line and all that stuff, yes. But right now we're just on like an Amazon Plus series that just hit its third season. I mean, come on, let's be real. It's not Invincible's not like a household name yet, so hold your horses. Okay. Yeah, again, if there was transparency around the process of like this is actually the number of books that came out from this production run, there's no extras, there's no like hidden backstock or whatever. If that were the case, then I'd be, but this is Image Comics we're talking about. This is Image Comics we're talking about. All right, we're not talking about we're not talking about I mean, Image is just like DC, Marvel. They're just gonna. Printing is cheap. Printing is cheap when you do it in one run. It's when you have to reset and do it a second time, adds to the cost, right? So if you're gonna do a run, just better to load up the machine and just let it run. It's never changed. And this is why you want to have a really good idea of what to print to meet the demand, right? So if you're underprinting, like I said, you're kind of wasting everybody's time and effort with the printing process. So it's better to overprint than underprint, and it's better to have a very robust production run, sell what you can, and then matriculate that inventory to, you know, over time. Because, you know, like, I can tell you right now, if Image has a backstock of Invincible right now and they're just selling it, they're making a lot of money because people want this backstock. So that's kind of like, that's the thing I'm worried about. You know, it's like, you just never know where these issues are coming from. Hmm. Yeah, you know, if you send the uh, if their books get damaged for whatever reasons, and you send the, or if they don't sell, you can sell them back at and get, I think, a discount or some kind of I mean, you're still paying for the book, but you're kind of getting some money back, so it's not a total loss. I don't know if companies though, if they still do that. I'm pretty sure most companies do. It's part of the sort of the you know, distribution sort of contract. Like, you have to order a certain number of books. If they don't sell, you have the option to kind of ship them back, and then at that point the company either destroys it or, you know, does whatever. I mean, there's always a resale ability to any comic book backstop, but it's the damaged books that I would imagine, if they got a bunch of damaged books back, that you just want to torch, right? You just probably want to destroy those books. But again, not a lot of transparency with this process, so it's just talking about it, it's just nebulous. You know, it's like, you just don't know what's really going on in the background there. All right, so 10% for damages. Okay, yeah. So that's the thing. Like, you take orders. You're taking, so if you're the publishing company, you're taking orders, and then you're printing around what you kind of anticipate the demand is, right? Where is that? I guess my point is, like, again, you're doing a production run. So let's say you get 40,000 orders. You have the choice to print 40,000, 50,000, or 100,000. And I'm saying there's no real, outside of the materials, right? If you print 100,000 versus 50,000, as a company, it's very little cost to you, right? It's very little cost to you outside of paper and the ink. So, you know, obviously financially, yeah, you'd want to print right to what, you know, what orders have come in. But if you print 100,000 and this thing is like catching on and selling even a month or two after the launch, then you've got extra inventory. You can sell more books. So that's kind of like, that's kind of the process that's nebulous. It's like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, you obviously want to print to the demand, but sometimes, you know, companies are willing to take that extra, and it's not that big of a loss, you know, on a production run. It is if nothing sells, right? But if it's like, you know, you have a guaranteed amount of sales here, and it's just going to cost you X amount to just, you know, do a full production run, whatever that number is, whatever that guesstimation is for the company to like um, not incur too much of a loss, but it be an efficient use of resources. Meaning, if we print 100,000, if we've got 40,000 we've sold, if we print 100,000 and we sell 100,000, even if it's a month or two down the road, then it's better just to print it and then see what happens versus like, like not having that opportunity. Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah. You gotta, again, it's all around sales. Um, and because so I want to, I work for a cosmetics company, and you always want to have a, a good prediction of what you're going to sell. And part of that prediction of what you're going to sell is based in hard like orders. Like these are the hard orders, right? Um, and so what our job in sales for cosmetics was to like talk to as many vendors, get the hard orders, and then and these hard orders are constantly coming in. Like it's like for these specific product lines, they're going into production and they should be ready to ship out by this date. So we're just kind of waiting for these lots to get finished, and then they take those lots and just they just divvy them up to all the committed sales. But there's always overlap. They always so they take the hard sales and they always produce um, just above the orders that come in. And you want to do this because you don't want inventory. Inventory is death in cosmetics. These things have like an expiration date. Um, you know, it's a seasonal product, so if you have any kind of inventory, that's actually a loss. But in comic books, it's a little different. In comic books, um, again, when you set a printer to run, you're setting a specific number of like you can one run. It has a specified number. It's when you have to like roll out the ink or just roll out the like when you're manually having to readjust something. That's when the printing process becomes more costly. So if you set everything to run at a specific production run, once it's set, you just want to let that thing run and just print as many as you can, um, and not be beholden to any like small number. It's like just let it run. But at the same time, you don't. It's different from an inventory standpoint because I think inventory isn't necessarily a bad thing in comic books. It's like it's paper. These things don't have expiration dates. In fact, for a book like this, right, if it's gone up in value, you're going to be able to sell pretty much your entire back stock if you've overprinted it. So, based on certain calculations, like overprinting might actually be a good idea, and that's kind of what Marvel did. Marvel would just print books. They would just be, oh, okay, let's print. Let's just print. Let's print, maybe print, and they would just sell it. They'd move it because the demand was there, and there was also so many retailers, and there were just so many people in the hobby, and so many sellers in the hobby. They just could move all their inventory on any given amount of print run. So I think in today's environment, these print runs are incredibly large, um, and I don't think Invincible is immune to that. What I'm trying to say is Invincible probably had as robust a print run as anything in the Image line. Um, so you got to temper the whole like, oh, only 12,000 copies printed. Like, really, is that really like Invincible was the only comic that took advantage of this low production run, these low production runs throughout its entire 100, 30 issue, you know, run. Think about that. No, it's like part of this is just really like a retailer. I think it's some of it's just driven by the hobby sometimes, and you got to just question some of the data. That's a good point, Jens. Yeah, obviously storage is a big thing, so it's not going to sit in DC. It's going to sit in some wholesale. Uh, yeah, it's going to sit in some wholesale. Um, and there are these there are literally these like warehouses with old comic books just sitting there. Um, Kind of like the card market, right? You got like this wholesale market of old cards that sell higher than when they actually, because these things go up and down in value. But a lot of the like 90s cards are worthless. But once you start, if you go back to the 70s and 80s, they're extremely valuable. But yeah, they're sitting in a warehouse, and that's a cost. So it really depends on how often and how much you move the inventory. But um, something tells me that, yeah, there's probably a bunch of Invincibles sitting somewhere in a warehouse that hasn't been, that's not part of the quote unquote like sales, print, the sales run, the sales order run. Um, Again, that's my theory. I'm just kind of laying it out there, but it could be full of crock. I don't know. I'm just one of those like skeptical type people. Like, why did Invincible get this like incredibly, um, in that? Well, it's before Kirkman really hit it big. So I mean, it does kind of, the story makes sense. Um, and I know it's been a beloved series by comic book fans. So I get that did have this intense sort of passionate readership. A lot of people love this comic book, which is why it got turned into a television show. So I get the collectability of this, not shaming Invincible collectors or fans or anything like that. I'm actually just out of the loop, so that's kind of my deal. I'm like, never got into it. I don't know if I want to get into it, but I do know it's a popular IP right now, and so yes, um, I would encourage Yen to slab this and sell it for as much as he can while he can, uh, and yeah, let's see what it comes back as, man. And that's my haul there. It's just a little modest 3-book haul, but again, I got the nice Hush books here that I've been meaning to add. This adds to my Jim Lee collection, which is not a terrible thing. And then we've got the hopefully a big money book here if it comes back a 9/8. So Yen, is the plan to submit this one? Let the people know if that's what the plan is. And just want to make sure there's nothing funky going on there. Looks good. All right. All right, that's the plan. Whew. Yeah, I think this will come back at 9.8. I don't see how it couldn't. You know what I mean? It just looks great. Doesn't look like it has any issues. Ron gives us the thumbs up. It's going to be 27 and 25. All right. Nice. So we've met the 25 book threshold. Good. Oh, what on the 162? Yeah, what's fun with the 162? Is there some hidden image in there? No, I returned that to the library. Is it in the interior? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can open this up. Let's take a look. What's going on? What page is it on? All right, I'm gonna take a look. There's something on the interior. Is this it? Mm-hmm. I see some Christian figures down there. What are we looking for? Okay. Oh, hey, what's up, Tyler? Awesome, man. Tyler did the lettering for this issue. Well, now I got to get you to sign it. Nice. So Tyler worked on this book. Proud of you, man. That's awesome. So you know this better than most people, because I'm sure you had to coordinate with everybody, right? How was that communication process? Was it smooth? Were you just waiting? You're just waiting for Jim and Jeff to do their work? Oh, nice. Okay, cool. That is so cool, Tyler. That is so cool, man. Well, this is the best book in the run. This is the book you want, and Tyler, our guy Tyler, is credited for the lettering on this. Beautiful, beautiful job, Tyler. This it really is like a. I've been one of the things when I got back into comic books, one of the things that caught me was like how clean comic books have become. Comic books are just like paper qualities, just so much better than when I was collecting. The coloring, the lettering, just the whole design, and everything's just so like you saw that whole panel there. They don't even they don't leave any margins now. It's just like all integrated into images, and they've kind of broken up the panels on. Well, I mean, they're still panels, but they can take a lot of liberty there with how that's arranged. The lettering hasn't changed all that much, but again, it's like it's no longer. I'm sure it's, you know, a digital process now, makes it much easier, right? Okay, communication was smooth. That's good. Jim draws with the bleed. Right. Um, yeah, you know, I mean, that's so cool, man. Well, I'm seriously, Tyler. I gotta get your uh, signature on this book. If you're willing to do that, that is so cool. Um, there you go, and congrats. What a first book to be featured on. Um, that is, I mean, this is uh, a highly anticipated. I don't know anybody in comic books that hasn't read this. Like, if you're collecting and you're, especially if you're like an old school collector, it's like when this was announced, I just was like, oh man, they're getting the band back together, and it's like I was just waiting. And I wasn't getting it off the cover, or I wasn't getting off the racks, because I figured these would be eventually like discounted books, and you know, we could find them discounted at some point. And like, in case in point, I just a couple months into, because you know this came out earlier this year, a couple months into, or was it late? Sorry, it was late last year. It was last year when it came out. Um, yeah, like a year in, I'm finding them at half price books in the discount, in the half off bin. So yeah, if you're patient with certain things, they'll eventually come your way. But I was very curious. I was like, I want to read it. I got my library copy. I read those. I need to get the last issue, and it should be fine. I did like the way they kind of like, it did crescendo into this big moment where Batman's confronted by the Joker, and it's kind of like, what is he gonna do, right? He's like, he has the Joker there. Is he gonna protect him from the people that want to kill him? His friends that want to kill him, or is he going to kill him himself? I mean, like, it ends in this scenario that Hush sent out. Really good stuff. But yeah, definitely curious to see how it ends. I know it's out now. The issue is out. We don't know when the third arc will be out, but it hopefully it ends with a bang, ends on a cliffhanger, and then it's going to be like everybody's going to groan. All right, when is when are they going to finish this damn book? And we'll see where that goes. Yeah, yeah, great. Well, on to, you know, continued success with your work. Yeah, getting credited on a big issue like this is great. This is great. I love this cover, by the way. It really is Jim's best. I mean, there's a cover where he's fighting Batgirl. That technically could be also arguably like the best cover in this second arc. But for me, it's the like Wanted Dead or Alive. Like that's that's just awesome. You got a little Anakin Vader like homage thing going there. It's pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, I got a hiking trip early in the morning tomorrow, so gonna call it a night. But thanks for joining, Tyler, Jens, Ron, and Gordon. Thanks, guys. Always just fun to chat and hang out. Um, I should have more pickups here in the coming in the coming weeks. So stay tuned. And just a reminder, I have the link from yesterday's video. Go sign the petition if you haven't already. I may have to actually find another petition link because the petition I set it up through one of JotForm. JotForm apparently has like limits if you're not subscribing or whatever to how many people can actually sign per month, which is just completely lame. But I get it. It's these are services; they're just not free to the public. So we'll see. We'll see what we're going to do about that. So I'm kind of trying to figure out. I may just do something organically where maybe you can email me just like a passionate letter with like a digital signature or something, and we can start counting those. But we'll see. I'll have to figure something out where we can get some data, and it really is about just getting a count, data count with like an organic plea from many people. It's not like it's something heartfelt, passionate, and organic that we're going to submit to the panel. But yeah, it's definitely we got time. We'll figure something out, and I just hope we've got a good amount of signatures already. But again, we're just going to hit our limit soon, and that's the thing I didn't count on. So yeah, that's just a quick update there. But yeah, continue to create the content. Let's get the buzz out there and get Sanho Kim elected or recognized by the panel. Some kind of lifetime achievement recognition would be good. All right, good night, guys. It's like $24 a month. I don't know. I don't want to pay it, dude. I don't want to pay it. All right, we'll see you in the next one.